is up, my peoples? What's happening? What's good? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Rico Report. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. We are here. We've been hearing a lot of conversations surrounding free agency, surrounding players that we will potentially retain, some that we're going to let walk. I just kind of want to go through these things and dive into some of the roster moves that potentially could shape the rest of this offseason going into the regular season. So, folks, as you walk into this room, chat in, listen, do me a favor, smash that like as you guys in here. If you guys have not subscribed, what are y'all waiting for? Subscribe to the channel. Let's go. What's happening? So, folks, welcome back. Let's get into it. It's going to be a solo show tonight, which I kind of miss doing those solo shows, man. We kind of can get right into it. So let's get right into the hot topic. There's a few topics that I want to hit tonight, but one of the hot topics are on the offense. We're going to stick to the offense today, and a little bit dive into the defense as well. But conversations surrounding two players in particular, one being Keon Coleman, and the other being Connor McGovern. I'm interested in that because at one point with Connor McGovern, I'm ready to say, hey, let that brother go and figure his life out, and let's see if it works out. And I understand the GM strategy, if you will. Obviously, all Bills fans know that we are cap strapped. The cap went up by $22 million. Not the number that we anticipated, but a number boost nonetheless. So we're sitting here, I guess, exercising. Okay, so what can the Bills do? What will the Bills do? How much money do the Bills need to make certain moves? So you can't keep everybody. At the end of the day, what it comes down to is you cannot keep everyone. You have to factor in a couple things. I'm going to start with the offensive line here. You paid Spencer Brown. You just extended him. You reworked his deal a little bit. So he's going to be we kicked that can down the road. You already have Deion Dawkins that you're paying quite a bit. He's one of the highest paid players on the Bills team right now. So you're not doing anything with that. So you got two bookend tackles that are paid. You're going to have to figure something out with Osiris Torrance, right? Young player. At one point, you're going to want to keep your young players, homegrown players, player that you drafted. So that you've got to factor that in as well. So this is where hold on, I said Rico, two sleepers, the receiver. Okay, no, we're going to get to that. We're going to get into some drafts and some prospects. But what I want to get into is this O-line, man. Like, I know people are talking about, hey, man, we got to keep Edwards. We got to keep McGovern. Fam, $20 million to your left guard in Edwards, which is a solid left guard. But $20 million, man, I feel that we could put that towards, positions on this group that could really get us up to the next level. Don't forget, we don't have some statue of a quarterback under center. We have one of the most mobile, if not by the time his career is done, probably will be one of the best dual threat quarterbacks that's ever played the game. So you can kind of get away with not having perfection at the line. However, you don't want to have a slouch either. So McGovern right now is obviously wanting to return to the Bills, and why wouldn't he? This is a team that believed in him. They said, hey, we're going to give you an opportunity to be center, moving him from guard to center, and he fulfilled that, and he did a really good job. But the way sports is played is not everybody could be around forever, especially with the NFL. There's a cap, right? Some people want to say, hey, the cap isn't real. Well, listen, right now it's real. It's as real as it's going to get because we can't pay everyone. So this is where guys like Alec Anderson come in. This is where guys like Cedric Van Pran Granger come in. So, like, you don't draft these guys, you don't bring these guys on for nothing, just to sit here as a backup player. There's something called development. And as Bills fans, we want our guys to develop. And one guy that's been developed for the last couple of years has been center out of Georgia, Cedric Van Pran Granger. I've already pleaded my case as to why I believe he should be the guy going forward. Although I have my I have my questions, but that makes sense. It's a easy transition, just like when the Bills transitioned from Mitch Morse. Mitch Morse being an older cat, but very solid center. What's up, my guy? I see you, my brother. I see you. Right. Um, being an older cat, you want to make sure that you develop your young players and you move on before it's too late. And I'm not saying that it's a horrible time to move on from, excuse me, a big mistake to move on from McGovern, but it's not horrible either. This is the time where you got to let the young bucks come in. When Mitch Morse left, we said, "Hey, man, we're gonna go. Connor McGovern's gonna be at center." Most folks were like, I guess he has played some center. I mean, okay, it seems like he's a McDermott guy, fam, and he's done well the last couple of years. Give kudos to Aaron Cromer. Give kudos to the development of those young guys. Now it's the next man up, and what a beautiful gift that Aaron Cromer has given us is the development of Alec Anderson, Vandenmark, and you know what I'm saying? We have young guys on this team right now that are still in development. But at least we had 2 years with Cromer to help these guys go. And now we got Pat Myers that's coming in as a well-respected O-line that can continue this. So this is where you move on from McGovern, let him test free agency. The Bears they just lost the center. I think the man just retired out of nowhere. So I could see Connor McGovern getting a starting spot right in Chicago. So this is where we got to transition into young, youthful guys and keep it pushing. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Would we like to keep everybody? Of course, but we already know Brandon Bean has an issue with you know what I'm saying? I mean, keeping money in the bank, right? Some of the spending that my brother's been doing has been spent in places where you're like, man, we could have done a better job. So for me, with Connor McGovern saying, "Hey, man, nobody's reached out to me. I don't know what's going on." I mean, listen, read the tea leaves, brother. If nobody's reached out, nobody's said a peep. Either they're just gonna let you play it out. And I understand the strategies from the GM standpoint. Yo, go feel it out. And if they go out and give you $20 million as a center, hey man, you deserved it. You earned it. But I ain't paying you 16. So if you want to come back, you're gonna have to take that home deal. Now, as a player, you're not trying to be lowballed either. And I think this is where the respect comes in. I would love to think that McDermott, Bean has respect for his players when he tells them to go and seek deals elsewhere. He's telling you to read between the lines. I ain't got the money that the market is telling you that you're gonna get. So I respect you enough to not lowball you. Go ahead and figure your life out. And if you happen to, you know what I'm saying, not like the deals that they're giving you, or you prefer to take that pay cut and come back to us, we'll gladly listen and entertain it. But right now, bro, that phone ain't being picked up. So read between the lines, Connor McGovern, bro. They want you to go test free agency, and you will get paid, and you will find yourself into a very good situation. And this is where young players have to come up. And Cedric Van Peren-Granger out of Georgia, it's time. And I would have loved to see Cedric get way more reps last year, but then he got banged up, and they had him playing guard a little bit. He's only played center his collegiate career, but they had him mixing into the guard play. You know how Cromer is. Cromer's like, yo, you ain't just gonna play one position. You're gonna play center, you're gonna play guard, and if I need you, you're gonna get in there. So he played a little bit of both. Actually, he was actually active for the last game against the Jets in those new unis. So I'd like to go back and take a look on how he did, because I know he played that game. I was excited to see if he was going to play center, and then it was Alec Anderson that ended up playing center. So I found that fascinating. But anyway, nonetheless, McGovern not being retained or not being asked to come back, I don't think it's a slap in his face. I think it's more like, yo, time is up. It's time for you to kind of venture off and go elsewhere, and we're going to keep it pushing. And now, time to push the young bucks. So now you have you get a little more youthful on the side of the field, right? So now you have your young Spencer Brown, young Osiris Torrance, right? Young center in Granger, Alec Anderson if he slides into the left, or we bring in a guy to compete at left guard. So the line gets useful. Obviously, Deion Dawkins is getting up there now. I think he's pushing 30, 29, 30, give or take. So that's where we're at this point. You know what I'm saying? At the point of this time in the offseason. This is where decisions have to be made. Tough decisions have to be made at this point, because now you have to be strategic. This is all about strategy at this point. Everybody's doing it. The Bills are not exclusive. Everyone's trying to figure out how to attack this. Don't forget, tampering period, March 9th. Free agency opens up March 11th. So you're going to see a lot of things go down, which brings me into my next player. And that is my guy, Mr. Keon Coleman. Here's the thing about Keon Coleman, folks. Keon Coleman is one of those situations where it's 50-50 down the middle. And by what I mean by 50-50 down the middle is you have players. You have Bills fans that really want the best for Keon Coleman in a Bills uniform. He went into year 2, and obviously we know that there's been some ups and downs this year. But then you got the other half that are saying, I've seen enough. The first 2 years of his play, he can kick rocks and get to moving. And I feel like it's unfair because, yeah, you're going into year 3. Most times we always say, wait till year 3 for all player development. Quarterback, sometimes corners, your offensive linemen, your receivers. Like year 3 is when you really can tell if someone's going to be about it or not. And the fact that people are already jumping off and saying, bro, get rid of that bum, he's no good, I believe is unfair. I don't think that's cool to loop him into some bum. And I think he could be a very big asset. And too often in the NFL, it happens to quarterbacks a lot, and it just happens to good players. You go to a terrible team, and they don't develop you well enough. That's bad coaching, bad development, and now this player is deemed a bum, and I hate that because it's happened before, right? A quarterback goes to the bad team, right? He gets drafted. That's why. What do you think Eli Manning was like, bro? You're gonna send me over there? No, I'm not going over there. I see what's out there. I would rather sit out than go over there. That's why, and it sounds terrible, but like these coaches sometimes can ruin a player. I'm sure you guys know some player that's coming to your mind right now that came into the league as a rookie and had all the promise coming out of college. They get to a team and lack of development, lack of talent around that player, lack of support, and then this player is deemed a bum, right? Prime example. And this guy was just this might not be a very good example, but I'm thinking Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck goes to the Colts, and he actually had these boys balling, but they never continued to develop this guy. A, they didn't give him the weapons that he needed. B, and they certainly didn't protect him with his O-line. So this brother was like, bro, what are we doing here? He got these guys. Didn't he get this guy? Didn't he get the Colts to an AFC Championship game? So talent was there, but around him, they didn't do enough. So they say, yo, he said, I'm out. I'm not doing this. He retires, right? I'm trying to, what some people might say, Sam Darnold. Listen, if you go to the Jets, bro, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And that's why I feel awful for Breece Hall. If Breece Hall went anywhere else, this boy would have been balling. And he did what he could with that damn Jets team. That Jets team is just a cursed team. I don't know what's going on with that Jets team, but that's how I feel. But if you got to be in the right situation, right time, everything. I mean, listen, Josh Rosen, coming out of college, damn good quarterback, goes to the freaking Cardinals, just an absolute disaster. Dude was out of league in 3 years? Had he gone to a different team, maybe it turns out completely different. So it's all about development and not giving up on a player too soon. This is where I have an issue when it comes to Bills fans and the lack of patience that we exhibit for certain players. Keon Coleman is the prime example right now. So year 1, we got excited for Keon Coleman. We got excited because he had a 4-game stretch where you're like, okay, he's understanding it. He's seeing it. I love what I'm seeing. I'm excited for Keon Coleman going into year 2. Obviously, that injury slowed him down. Even coach said it. Even Brandon Beane mentioned it. It kind of slowed him down. He never returned back to the same, and he lost momentum, lost that juice. Goes into the offseason, works his tail off. Week 1, he's one of the biggest stars on the field that day. So you're against the Baltimore Ravens. So you're thinking, okay, he's just picking up from where he left off. And then, poo-poo. But then you look at the rest of the receiver room, Did you see anybody really excel in that receiver room? Honestly, to really get out there and stand apart, it was hard to. So this is why I bring up Keon Coleman, because I'm like I- I'm I'm on the fence here when it comes to Keon. I'm part of the 50% that likes Keon Coleman and that believes that he can develop and become an asset for the Bills. And you have GM Brandon Bean telling us that, hey man, this is going to be one of his best careers. This is going to be a career year for Keon Coleman. We're going to really get that going. Where was that energy going for this guy the minute y'all got him? Right? Like, where was that energy? That energy was sucked away from that young man after being suspended for you know what I mean, so for his immaturity. Fine, we all get that immaturity part. And then there was just healthy scratches. Come on, fam. So as a professional, you're trying to, you know, do your best to get on the field, and all of a sudden, like, yeah, healthy scratch. We ain't messing with you right now. So that will mess with the psyche. That's gonna mess with your psyche a little bit. So now you have that go on during the season where your head coach is like, nah, we're gonna bench you. And then you get into the offseason, and the first press conference that your owner and GM come together, and they immediately throw you under the bus. So not only were you suspended from your head coach, not able to find, you know what I'm saying, momentum into the season, and your I guess you could say confidence was lacking, if you will. And then your GM and owner come out and talk about, oh, that was the previous coaching staff's decision. So now that's one storyline. Then your new head coach slash offensive coordinator last year tells you, hey, I was one banging the table for that dude. He's gonna have. So what mixed messaging, man? The Bills this offseason have been very messy. They've been this just came to me. I might say something like, I'm gonna just say right now. When McDermott was around, you're not messy like that. The Bills have never been messy under McDermott when he's been the guy leading the team. The minute McDermott leaves, boy, these Bills are messy. These are messy Bills. You know what I'm saying? And it starts right off the rip with Brandon Bean not able to, you know what I'm saying, have a little powwow with his owner before, and then the owner just spews out all this nonsense, and now you're having to backtrack and cover up and do all of that. Hey, there was none of that messiness with McDermott. McDermott ran a tight ship. There was no secrets that got leaked out, right? You didn't have that disarray you know what I'm saying, behind a press conference. McDermott leaves, and all of a sudden we all over the place. Now we're sending mixed messaging. So it's tough to try to read through what's going on. So you feel for Keon, because Keon's like, yo, all right, I got discipline. I'll own it. I'll man up to it. I'm cool. GM comes out and says, yo, he wasn't my guy. Owner says he wasn't the guy. He was the previous coaching. Oh, so that's how y'all do me? Head coach comes in and says, nah, man, that's my guy. I banged the table for him. I'm the one who wanted him. So if you wanted me so bad, and you were advocating for me, fam, what happened last year? It's like I fell out of favor. I was like being heavily targeted at the beginning, and all of a sudden I got cut off the well. So now as a player, I'm like, yo, do you guys mess with me or you do not? Which is it? Because I'll tell you right now, anybody, not just an athlete, but anybody that is in an organization or corporation, they want to be wanted. It's just what it is, man. They want to be wanted. Yo, we want you. We want you to succeed. We want the best for you. But when you get mixed messaging, you're like, yo, so what's really going on? So this is why I titled this, yo, is Keon Coleman really staying? Because now you got conversation about, hey, we really love Keon. Keon he's our guy. He's gonna have a career year. But if anybody's calling, shoot, we won't take a day two pick. So why y'all throw that out there? Why y'all throw it out there? Yo, you could have ended it like that. All GMs know that they can reach out to every GM, no matter what. Even if the player's not available, you're still gonna go and check. You didn't have to put that out there, but Brandon Bean did. So are they throwing it out there to kind of see, oh, who's gonna bite and who's gonna want to take this on? Don't you want to give your player ultimate confidence? This is why I mean these guys are being messy. You go from we want him to have a career year, but if anybody's looking at you, day two pick, you know what I'm saying, second round pick, third round pick, we'll take it, fam. Now, as an agent of that's my player, yo, just go ahead and tell me, go seek a trade if that's what the case is. So, do they really mess with Keon or do they not? Is this a game that they're playing that he's going to be used as leverage to try to, make a big trade? Because apparently the Bills are going to be aggressive this offseason. How aggressive can you be when your cheddar's limited, your money's limited, and the talent on the team, some might say, is limited, right? Obviously, we're top heavy with Josh Allen's of the world and so on and so forth. But where they're just, for in my opinion, just too messy. This Bills got to clean this up. Be straight with what you say. Let your yes be yes and your no's be no's. I just went biblical with you guys. Okay, let your yes be yes and your no's be no. So be straight with what you're saying. I've always liked Brandon Beane because he's always been a straight shooter, as to what I understand, to what I've seen so far. But these last little bits of Brandon Beane and how he's been, on this show and that show and chatting, and then now you got a new head coach that he's green, wet behind the ear, breath smelling like Similac. Shout out to my man Stephen A. So he's still learning the ways on what to say and what not to say. So this will be an interesting offseason with what they do with Keon. I'm on the side of Keon. I want Keon to succeed. I want him to actually do well with the Bills, right? Nothing better than when you draft a player, develop the player, and this player becomes an all-pro, a Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer. That's what you want. That's what you want, ideally. They did it with Josh Allen. Josh Allen, Pro Bowler. Josh Allen, All-Pro. Josh Allen, MVP. Josh Allen, soon to be Hall of Famer. That's you don't. Not every day you can draft something like that. So that being said, I want success for Keon Coleman, but I also do not trust ownership and GMs, because when they talk out of the side of their mouth, now you can't believe a word they say. So I'm interested. I'm looking forward to seeing how this all plays out with Keon Coleman. I want this brother to succeed badly. I for real do. And I know some folks are like, man, I ain't messing with that Keon no more. This boy, he lazy. He don't run routes. He don't do it. Listen, what happened to development? What happened to letting the player kind of, fall in his face, get embarrassed a little bit, and then getting back and having redemption? So year three for all players, typically, that's what is needed. So I know fans, I don't know how y'all feel. Are you guys team Keon, meaning team Keon, let him develop, we want to see great success from him? Or, man, get Keon out of here, man. I've seen enough of Keon. Get him out of here. You guys let me know in the chat. Team Keon or get rid of him. Move on from Keon, trying to find a trade partner and get him out of here. But then you move on from Keon, you better have a good replacement, because you move on from Keon, here's your receiver room. Shavers ain't coming back. I highly doubt he comes back. And if he does return in time, what kind of player is he going to be? And he was last on the depth chart. So you got Palmer, which we have no idea what Palmer's going to give you the second year, because if you want to guess what Josh Palmer gave you the first year, if you want to look at the window and his work, bro, he didn't give you anything. He didn't give you anything to be like, yo, I'm looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to seeing what Josh Palmer can do into year two, because he didn't give me anything in year one. So he's coming in almost as if he's a rookie again. So Palmer, Khalil Shakir is the only one that could show, that's showing you consistently what he does. And then the rest is it's up for grabs. You're up for grabs. Kincaid is on his way. They're gonna give him his 5th year. They're gonna sign that 5th year option, and he's the only other guy that really kind of does work for you in that pass catching role. So, fam, you move on from Keon, man, you really starting from scratch. It's not a bad thing, because now you know where you have to excel and where you have to really do things. So I'm paying close attention to what Brandon Beane is going to be doing this offseason, because I think we're all playing close attention, because this brother's been doing a lot of talking, a lot of yapping, and a lot of talking, and not enough action. So we're about to see how much action this brother's going to get into this offseason. So when it comes to Keon, I'm a fan. I want to see development from Keon. Can he be a guy the Bills can depend on? I truly do believe that he can. He can be a guy that you can trust. And if Josh Allen says, "No, man, we're going to get zero involved and we're going to get zero," I think he means it. I mean, he's essentially the one throwing the football. The one guy that I'm kind of like, yo, what are we talking about here? Is Joe Brady. We're gonna have him be the best he's ever been, and he's gonna have a career. Bro, you had him all off season. You had him all year last year. You kind of gave up on the guy. You gave up on the guy. So all of a sudden, things are gonna change. You're gonna change your offense all of a sudden. Carmichael is gonna, Pete Carmichael is gonna make you kind of, we should. I'm y'all see where I'm coming from with this, right? Am I the only one tripping? Am I the only one seeing right through this nonsense? So like, I'm watching Joe Brady. I'm watching the whole crew. I'm watching the CEO. I want to see what the CEO is going to be about. What kind of business are you going to be about? So the front office, obviously they got some new coaching staff. So, and the new coaching staff believes in Keon. So maybe we'll see a refreshed vision for the Bills offense, including Keon Coleman and his development. I mean, there's a lot of supporters for him, and there's some that really don't like it. There's a lot of critics that feel like he's not that dude. So the team messaging has been messy, has been very messy. They have an opportunity to clean things up by being very clear and saying he's our guy. We're gonna build around him and add to this team. So we're looking forward to seeing what Keon is gonna look like in a Bills uniform this offseason. If God help the Bills, because we're gonna be shorthanded at the receiver. So you're gonna have to fill that void, or fill many voids. But I think the Bills have a direction that they want to go to. Now I want to see where they're going to go. So we got less than a week before free agency comes and hits, and we'll go from there. And by the way, I don't know if you guys saw it, if you guys have been living under a rock, but Stephon Diggs has been released from the Patriots. I think a lot of people saw that happening, especially with all the legal issues that he was going through with the little pink baggie and all this other drama that he was bringing to the Patriots. And they said, bro, we good on that. So you can head out and go from there. And here's the thing. Fans have every right, Patriots fans as well, have every right to be like, yo, Diggs didn't show up again in the playoffs, which is baffling to me, which is absolutely baffling, because as a leader, they loved him as a leader. But Diggs is the one that gets let go, and Mac Hollins is the one that was kept. So, I mean, shoot, bro. When they needed the brother to show up, he didn't show up. So, and he certainly showed up for when he played the Bills. How about that, right? The first game. I'm still sick of that game. That game still got me. I still feel it. I'm not feeling that too much. But anyway, let's move on to the next topic real quick. So we talked on Keon. We talked on Connor McGovern. Let's get into some free agency conversation. Before we get into that, I got a couple super chats I want to get into, and we'll go from there. By the way, shout out to my man Dan Bills. What up, Dan? 5 years as a freaking, listen, man, I gotta give some love. Let me show my man Dan Bills some love. 60 months as a member. My man said, man, these 8 months without the Bills let me regain energy and be ready for next year's heartbreak. That's the thing, man. They energize us up. They give us the energy to have no football, and then they ramp us back up to let us know who, what, where, all those things, what they plan on doing to get us going. Free agency becomes fun if we're actually going to be active. He says we're going to be active. Brandon Beane says we're going to be aggressive and active. So we're paying attention. We're waiting to see what he does. All right. I got another super chat coming. Oh, shoot. We got a big boy super chat coming from my man, Henry Schopel. Did I say that right? Sholoff? Shoot. All right, shoot. Henry. I'm going to just keep it at Henry. Henry comes in with a big boy super chat. Says, yo, what's up, Rico? What's going on, Henry? I think my favorite idea is signing Dobbs and drafting a receiver end of first round of the draft. I think we'll end up taking an outside linebacker, edge rusher, in the free agent as well. Linebacker, I'd like Chanel. I like that as well. Or Caden Ellis. And safety, there's a bunch of solid UFA safety options. I'm so glad I read this comment, and I appreciate you, Henry, because we're gonna get into some free agency talk. I think in the next few days, we're gonna come back and give like a nice free agency kind of rundown on who we should hit, because free agency is gonna be around the corner, and who we should hit. And I have some ideas, so we're gonna get into that in just a little bit. Appreciate that super chat. So let's keep it rolling with what the Bills can do when it comes to free agency. So I think we can all agree that we're going to need some linebacker help. We're going to need some safety help. We're going to need some receiver help. And we're going to need to fill the need at the O-line. So we've got quite a few things that we got to do. We're good at corner. We're good on the defensive front. We maybe need an edge rusher, and we might be where we're at. But depending on what kind of defense that, you know what I'm saying, that new defensive coordinator, Mr. Jim Leonard, decides to bring, what kind of pressure packages, it always doesn't hurt to have a bona fide edge rusher. So we need that. So we've got needs. People, we got needs, man. Linemen, receivers, you know what I'm saying? Safety, linebackers. We have needs. We've got to fix them. So you got to start filling these voids and holes in free agency. If you can pay for some good talent, go ahead and do that. And then you can fill the rest with the draft. So free agency, realistic targets. So the one I'm looking at right now is the cap space. Okay. So by the time it's all said and done, Bills should be around that $40 million mark, depending, right? 40 to 50, but I'm assuming it'll be around 40. 40 on the low end, and then 50 mid, 60 as high as 60, depending on how much restructuring and pushing around that they do, or trading. Who knows? Okay. So they're entering free agency with a tight space, because when you look at what the Bills have and you look at what guys like the Raiders or the Patriots or I don't know, I think Minnesota's got some money now. I can't recall. There's quite a few teams. Seattle's got money. There's quite a few teams that have money and had success last year. And look at the Rams. And I'll get into the Rams in just a little bit. Like, there's a lot of competition that we have. So this 40 mil ain't really gonna do nothing, because there's guys that got boku money in the bank right now. So we've got to be strategic and aggressive in how we do it. That's why Bean saying he's going to be aggressive, we're all curious as to where and how. You got to get creative. You better go and get a name that really will move. You know what I'm saying? Kind of, you know what I mean? Move, get motion, right? And right now, if you don't bring anything that's got some motion, bro, ain't nobody listening to you right now. So right now, I'm looking at a few names that stand out to me. So Quay Walker. So I have a boy. One of my homies is a Packers fan, and Quay Walker coming out of Georgia. I thought this guy's a real deal. Like, he's gonna be nice. Quay Walker, free agent, and I guess the Packers like, bro, we ain't trying to bring him back at $15-16 million. I know the Bills ain't trying to pay $15-16 million to Quay Walker. So that is an intriguing one, because 6'4", 240, can run, and he will hit the heck out of you, right? But then my boy was like, but there's some games that this brother just disappears, and you're like, yo, where he at? Where's he at? And that's the type of stuff that you don't want. But in this new defense, maybe that's the type of defense that he needs to be in. But they were a 4-3 defense in Green Bay. So would a Quay Walker help the Bills? So that's one guy that I was paying attention to. Then I'm like, okay, so linebacker, obviously Chanel would be a great addition, a thumper of a linebacker. So finesse with Bernard, thumper with Chanel. What better mix would you not want, right? And he's not going to break the bank. He ain't going to be asking for $18 million or $15 million. So we can get him for a modest price. So Chanel would be an obvious pick to bring to the Bills. So that's one thing. At safety, I want to try to blend this topic in. At safety, I'm wondering if this could work. So today, I'm going to see if I can find the footage. On Pat McAfee's show today, they had Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was on Pat McAfee's show today, and he was talking about the nuances of defenses and certain schemes. And Aaron Rodgers brought up a name that I never thought he'd ever bring up. And not because this is awful, but just not one that I thought that would be worthy enough to bring attention to. And he brought up the Taron Johnson name. And he was talking, let me preface on what he was talking about. He was talking about how certain defenses like the Bills primarily stayed in nickel. So they stayed in nickel. They didn't move on from nickel, and they just stayed. No matter what you did, I'm staying in nickel. And he says one of the best players in this league, one of the most underrated players in this league is Taron Johnson. And he says Taron Johnson can be a linebacker in the box, and he can get out there and cover. Now, I have my thoughts on Taron Johnson on this year. This year, I don't think he had his best year, but I'm sure he'd probably say the same. But a future Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers saying, "Hey, man, y'all don't realize, but that boy was nice, man. You gotta figure it out." Then that got me thinking. Okay, you're going into a 3-4 defense, not nickel. And if you do, you go into dimes and quarters, D and stuff like that. But primarily, you're 3-4. So very not much need, if you will, for a Taron Johnson type player. So then I'm like, hold on a second. So what are the odds that Jim Leonard can develop and kind of slide my man back as a safety? And I know most folks are like, bro, but he's never played safety, bro. He's been a corner, he's been a nickel corner. But like, and this is just me brainstorming here. How bad could it be if you put Taron Johnson right next to Cole Bishop? You fill the need at safety. Now, is it a risk because he's never played it, so you don't know what can take place? But I'm old enough to remember when George Wilson was a damn receiver and George Wilson transitioned to safety and he wasn't half bad at safety. So it can be done. It's been done. We've seen it. Obviously, different generation, different time, but it can be done. You go from the opposite of playing a receiver, and now you could kind of switch them over to safety. Now, obviously, two different situations, two different players, but either you're gonna utilize this player and find a place for him, or like what are you gonna do? Like he becomes an odd man out. So does Taron Johnson stay with the Bills and they transition him and move him to safety? You fill a need, and that way you keep a player that's been an all-pro in this game, and he just has to kind of transition a little bit. You know, he's not afraid to get down in the box and get dirty. He's covered before. Now you just got to kind of change the mind frame a little bit. Now, how easy is it from a nickel to move back to to a safety? Who knows? I mean, Ramsey went from playing a corner and they moved that brother back to safety. I mean, you didn't. I don't know if Pittsburgh fans were complaining about that. I'm just saying it's a possibility. Now, I know folks are saying, well, hold on. You're going to move Taron Johnson back to safety. What about Jordan Hancock? Well, that's also an option. So there's things to figure out. So if we don't transition him to safety, Taron Johnson does become odd man out, because now you pretty much drafted his successor in Jordan Hancock as a nickel. So what you going to do with Taron Johnson? So this is why I bring up that point. So do you move Taron to safety? And I'm not saying I know this. I'm curious. Haven't seen him play it, but I've seen players transition from corner to safety. Dion did it near the end of his career, right? But usually it's one that is near the end of their career. I mean, Taron Johnson, he's not near the end of his career just yet, but he ain't young now. So this might be the proper transition into a new defense, and you get new coaching, and you might be able to develop, and he might be the best thing that's happened to the Bills right next to Cole Bishop. So it's something that we'll have to kind of discuss. My man said, okay, get Carl Jones on the phone. Hey, Carl would be the right person to ask this, right? Going from corner to safety. I'm sure he's probably done it a little bit. So does the mind frame change a little bit? And I know there's corners that have a hard time transitioning from a zone corner to a press corner. So I wonder if that plays a part in that. From a nickel to a safety, how big of a gap does it become? So that it was something that I've been kind of thinking when it comes to free agency. So I'm sure we're going to be paying close attention in these next few days, right? Weeks. We're going to find out, is he going to be part of a trade day, same deal, or do they really Do they think that that works out? I think it's a great idea, personally. I think it's a great idea. My man said your Ronnie Lott, Charles Woodson are the two that come to mind. There you go. Charles Woodson was a great corner, solid corner, went to safety and almost had two careers. One at corner, one at safety. So, bro, the more I talk about it, the more I'm on board with Taron Johnson transitioning to safety. I don't mind that one whatsoever. It could be an absolute disaster, or it might be the best thing that's happened for the Bills. And the player ready to transition into that position is right on the squad. We shall see. We shall see. My man Walter says, "Yo, I think Terrence at safety will be great. Look forward to seeing it when we move on. And he plays for his next team." Walter's such a fool. Walter's such a fool. So it might be great, man. We might get the best out of him with a little that he has left. Now, another safety that's potentially available for that's available. Let me look at my spot rack real quick. Is safety Cam Curl. Cam Curl's he's been a name that I've been hearing of the last couple of years. I mean, the last team he played for, I believe, was the Commanders. Let me just open this up real quick just so I can be correct with what I'm saying. One name that comes to mind, obviously, is Cam Curl. Another one that comes to mind is Kyle Duggar. Kyle Duggar would be fascinating type of safety that would be available for the Bills. I'd love that. Market value is nothing too crazy. He's only 6 years into the league. He's 29. You bring in a big time safety in Kyle Duggar. I mean, when I say big, I mean big in body. And that was a name that the Bills had in mind years ago. Now, different regime, things change. So Kyle Duggar is someone that I've been kind of, paying attention to and saying, hey, maybe we got something, right? What's up with Geno Stone? He might be something that becomes available. 26-year-old, gonna be 27, Cam Curl, right? Market value, $10 million. So, I mean, we've got some options. We've got some options out there. Reed Blankenship, right? Can you imagine two white safeties in the back there? I love it. Reed Blankenship, 27 years of age? Shoot. Sign me up. White on white. Let's go. The whiteout. We get the boys whiting out the back. You ain't got nothing out there? Shoot. I'll take that. Why not? So there's definitely some prospects in free agency that I'm looking forward to seeing how we handle this going forward. So those are a couple names that I see. So Cam Curl being one of them. Obviously, I kind of like the Nick Cross. I know Colts fans were not a big fan, but there's something about Nick Cross that I do like. Tony Jefferson's past that prime, man. Tony Jefferson was supposed to be a Bill a long time ago. This boy avoided Buffalo. So we'll see where these Bills end up. But look for the Bills to kind of fill that role. I wonder where and how, but see. And call me crazy, but I would not be shocked if the Bills decide to say, hey, man, Jordan Poyer, come back as a depth piece, try out, and we'll go from there. It wouldn't surprise me. Do we need it? No. Would it surprise me? Absolutely not. I've not been this league and this team does not surprise me anymore. The amount of players that we brought back last year, I was like, golly. I mean, so that's just in the DNA of Brandon Beane. Brandon Beane will bring back a player if he needs to. That's facts. That's what he will do. So let's not forget there's going to be some internal re-signings that we've got to handle as well. Brandon Cooks. I know some folks are like, man, what is the fascination with Brandon Cooks? What's the fascination? I like Brandon Cooks. I like what he was able to provide for the Bills the last several games. Although he had some moments where he made some bobbles catches and some big time drops, but there was a breath of fresh air that he brought the offense. So bringing him back to try out or to to be on the bottom of the receiving depth chart, it doesn't hurt. At 32 years of age, I think he liked the Bills enough. I think he made an impression on the Bills, and the Bills made an impression on him. Why not bring Brandon Cooks back? I'm all for it. The boy can still run, and if we don't fill the needs or fill this team enough, he's enough that he can be a threat. And to me, that's a no-brainer for myself. At least for me, that's a no-brainer. So Brandon Cooks, we're gonna have to do some internal resigning. So Brandon Cooks, I wouldn't mind bringing back Tre'Davious White. I wouldn't mind bringing Tre'Davious White back as well. I think that'd be great depth. and it gives you a guy with intelligence back there. So bringing him back is great. And then obviously we got to figure out what we're gonna do with some of the guys on the defensive front. So I'm looking forward to this free agency. I'm gonna have a more of a structured show where we can really talk about the top free agents that we should hit. But we have our internal guys that we want to bring back. Obviously, I want to bring back Gilliam. You gotta bring back Reggie. Stop playing with me. Bring back my man Reggie, and call it a day, man. So now when we want to get into, there's one last thing that I want to get into before I get out of here, because this was going to be just trying to keep the show at about an hour, right? So we talked on Taron, but there's a bigger need that we want to talk about. So receiver, folks, I need y'all, talk to me now, okay? Receiver, is Mike Evans of a name and a player that you can truly see on this roster alongside Josh Allen, James Cook? Try to envision it. I've been trying to envision it. Does it work? The quarterback that Josh Allen is, can it work, and does it work with Mike Evans? I'm trying to rack my brain around it. My man Brian Lucio's like, nah, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Mike Evans is going to be what, 32? 32, 33? Mike Evans has had consistent football throughout his whole career. 1,000-yard receiver. Last year, he got nicked up quite a few times, wasn't able to be the same guy that he was. But do we let that get in the way of Mike Evans coming to Buffalo and being an asset? Because if you look at what we have on the roster, he would be immediate number one receiver. Contested catches, check. Is smart enough to understand where to sit, where to be best for his receiver, for his quarterback. Can he still get separation? I mean, shoot, that's to be determined, because of last year, it was tough to kind of determine that based on him, getting nicked up. But when he returned, he was still getting busy. So does he still got it in him? And would he fit with this offense that Joe Brady runs? And would he fit with Josh Allen? I'm trying to figure myself out, because you bring in a Mike Evans, and I got to double check what his market value is. Mike Evans' market value, I can't imagine, is too high. Okay. So his market value is at $13 million. That's not bad. I'd rather it a little lower than that, but $13 million isn't crazy. He's not asking for 17, 18. The market value is at 13. The market's the market. So I wouldn't mind bringing the 32. Shit, he's going to be 33, 32, 33 years old. So is it enough? But this is the type of receiver that you would need. The receiver that Mike Evans is, you can't bring him with a young quarterback. You got to bring him to a team that is competing to try to win a Super Bowl, which he's done. He's done that already. He's trying to do it again. But does he fit in Buffalo? That's number one. Mike Evans. Give that one some thought. Then I'm thinking, all right, if not Mike Evans, then there's Rashid Shaheed. With the type of receiver he is, forget about the punt returning that he does and kick returning. We know that he does that. Is he good? Would he be a good piece for Josh? I've seen him with the Saints. We saw him with the Saints. He did actually well against us. I saw him with the Seahawks. He gave the Seahawks a very big boost. So would that work with Josh Allen, James Cook, this offense? Would that work? So then I'm like, do you trade for someone? Do you trade for a guy like Terry McLaurin? I like Terry McLaurin because Terry McLaurin is a route runner. And Josh, if you go back to what Josh has excelled with, when he had Emmanuel Sanders, when he had Stephon Diggs, when he had Cole Beasley, when he had John Brown, those guys were separators. And you saw he took a huge leap. Year 3, Josh was balling. Year 4, killing it. And he's been on a trajectory of going high ever since. Do you bring him back a route running type of receiver? This is not even draft related. This is more free agency or trading for someone. Mike Evans. and then you add in a Romeo Dobbs, maybe, that completely changes what your offensive receiver room looks like. Shakir, Mike, Dobbs, Coleman, and now you got some. And then you draft a player on top of that. But then I'm looking at the chat, and the chat is like, bro, no to Mike Evans. Heck no, we don't need it. Move on from him. He too old. I ain't doing it. My man Jam says, yo, Mike Evans would be the most aggravating signing Bean has ever done. It would be no different than trading for Amari Cooper. And I get that too. But y'all got to remember, man, Brandon Bean's trying to be aggressive. He's trying to be aggressive. But what needs to happen is this. If you're going to grab a guy like Mike Evans, you got to understand, how close are we to knocking on the door and really competing for a Super Bowl? Are we there yet? Are we really there? Is he the one piece that gets us over the hump? Makes you wonder. He's an absolute upgrade. There's no question about that. You bring Mike Evans onto the Bills, he is an upgrade over Keon, Shakir, Palmer. He is absolutely an upgrade over every one of them. I'm not going to sit there and say he is Amari Cooper. Heck no. I think he's got more juice than Amari Cooper. And I think going from one team your whole career to another team, bro, you're motivated. You're motivated to say, hey, I'm no scrub. I can still play. But 33, going to be 33 by the time the season starts, does scare me a little bit. But then it also reminds me, yo, Jared Rice played until he's 40. That brother played until he was 40, 41. So like, are we discrediting just because dude is 33 that he's just washed? He ain't that dude. Mike Evans hasn't been washed. He's been that dude all throughout his career. The 1 year that he fell off was because of injury. But some folks might say, hey, but that's the start. That's the start of the nonsense. They start to get injured. They start to get banged up, and it ain't the same no more. Hence, potentially why the Buccaneers say it's been real. My girl Laura says, yo, Mike has experience. He's ready. But me feeling that, Brady and Bean are Super Bowl ready, nah, we ain't Super Bowl ready. And that's what it comes down to. Are we really knocking on that door, or do we have a lot more work to do to add? But if they're telling me we're going to be aggressive, something tells me that this would be part of their aggression, of aggressiveness of going after a guy like Mike Evans. I personally would want the Bills to trade for Terry McLaurin. I think Terry McLaurin, 5 years straight, he's been a 1,000-yard receiver being thrown to by you take a guess. Marcus Mariota, freaking Sam Wolf, or Sam, whoever that dude was. Bro, he was being thrown to by everybody. He was like D-Hop. I don't care who's throwing me the football. I get busy. Last year was the 1 year that he didn't. You bring him to Josh Allen? I would love that. I would love that. Yeah, but he's 30. I'll take that 30. I'll take him at just turning 30 over a Mike Evans that's going to be 33. So that's one route that I would love for the Bills to make. If they're going to be aggressive, that's the route I'd like them to take. But here's what's tricky for me. So currently on the roster right now in the receiver room, you've got Josh Palmer. We got to figure out what the heck is up with Josh Palmer. Are we listen, Josh Palmer's cap hit is 11.75. So he's as good as staying on this squad. Nothing's going to change. Unless something happens, nothing's going to change. I just want to double check if I'm correct. 11.75 is his cap hit. What I'd like to know is if we move on from him, what the repercussions would be. So Josh Palmer, let me hit that real quick. So Josh Palmer, there's an out on Josh Palmer next year. Dead cap hit of 4.8 mil. We'll definitely take that. The dead cap, if we were to move on from him now, is 11.2. So he's staying on the roster. Josh Palmer ain't going nowhere. So it's going to be Keon, Palmer, Khalil. Right now, that's what it looks like. We saw that last year. It didn't work out for us. So somebody is going to have to take a backseat. So that's why I said, are they playing in Keon Coleman's face? Because it's a numbers game at the end of the day. It becomes a numbers game. What do you bring in? If you're as aggressive as you say you are, somebody's moving. Do you move on from Palmer and say, yo, that 1 year experience was cool? You out of here. But that dead cap hit is nasty. That dead cap hit on Josh Palmer is sitting here at $11.2 million. No bueno. In 2027, 4.8. Much more doable. Can't do it here. That would hurt. So I just want to see something here. I'm looking at the details. If for Josh Palmer, if we trade him pre-June, the dead cap hit. So if he gets traded, the dead cap hit is $6.4 million. The Bills would save $5 million if he was traded pre-June 1st. If we release him before June, we would get hit with that 11-2 and we wouldn't save diddly squat. Okay? So here's what has to happen. If we're going to do anything with Josh Palmer, you got to trade him. We save $5 million and the dead cap hit for 26 becomes $6 million. Doable. Unless we can parlay that part of a deal somewhere. He'd have to be part of the deal and send him somewhere. So June 1st designation. The dead cap hit. So let me just keep looking here. If we move on from him post-June, we trade him after June, the dead cap hit is $1.6 million. In 2027, it becomes 4.8. And we save $10 million in 2026. So the key here is trading him after June 1st. That becomes very tough to do. If you release him after June 1st, dead cap hit 6, dead cap hit for 2026 would be 6 on the books for that, 4.8 the next year, and we'd save $5 million this year if we release him. So I don't think it's still in the cards to move on from it. It just has to be done after June. So they're actively looking at what options they can take, I'm sure. Because what that brother gave us last year, bro, I was the one beating the table. I was smashing that table saying, bro, that's the dude. He's going to be nice with Josh Palmer. He's going to be good with Josh. Boy, was I wrong. Yikes. Listen, some folks are saying it was a bad contract. It is what it is. We thought we had some. We certainly didn't. But is it fair? Is it fair for us to say, bro, he didn't really have a chance. He was hurt all year, man. Give him an opportunity to get healthy, and he'll be all right with the Bills. That's where Brandon Beane and Joe Brady come in. Do they like Palmer enough? But sometimes they weren't sitting at the table long enough for you to even acknowledge that they were significant. You feel me? That seat at the table they weren't even looking that way because that brother was hurt. So it's hard to kind of like, you know what I mean, build a connection with the guy when you didn't really do anything. And then when he was healthy, he didn't really do anything in the playoffs. Like he did absolutely nothing in the playoffs. Like what did he do for us in the playoffs? Let me just take a quick peek at what Josh Palmer did for us in the playoffs. Because, bro, I was not impressed with that brother at all. Like, honestly, I was damn near disappointed. And when it came to the playoffs, I'm like, yo, you know what? He going to do it. He going to be something. Nah, bro. Nothing. Nothing at all. I'm trying to even remember to even play in the playoffs. See, that's how bad it was, bro. That's how bad. Regular season, postseason. Did he listen? Postseason with the Bills, nothing. He didn't even play. See, that's how much like he's after. Not even in my mind. Not even in my mind. Golly, man. Well, how about that? How about that? So the Bills, yeah, I'm trying. Just remember, I just forgot. It's just trying to figure out what these Bills are going to be able to look like in the offseason. So that's why this March 9th is going to be fascinating. If the Bills can trade for Terry McLaurin, bro, I'd be, mark me as thrilled. I think that would be a big move. But who am I to say anything? Because I thought the Bills going after Palmer was going to be a big move. But McLaurin is a little different. Scary Terry would be a little different. And I know he apparently wants out of Washington Commanders. Why? When you have Jane Daniels that's doing it, who knows? Who knows? My man said, my man Walter said, I'm over signing free agents and hoping on potential. Potential is for the draft. Paying young guys going into their second contract, expecting growth every year is a fool's errand. And you're not wrong. Walter, you ain't wrong, bro. Because that's what it comes down to. Because I'm like, let me ask you this. How many free agent receivers have come out and really killed it with their first year with their team? I think I read something that it was Juju Smith-Schuster that had 1,000-yard receiving with the Kansas City Chiefs. And then there was another name that stood out to me, and I can't remember their name, that there was like one or two receivers that really did it. That was it. So that's what we're standing at. So maybe it's not about free agency. It's about who the Bills decide to try and trade for. Scary Terry is who I'm looking at. And if we don't, straight focus on the draft. Straight focus on the draft. And if we're going to go free agency, fill the need at the offensive line, fill the need at linebacker, fill the need at safety, do what you got to do, and then focus on the draft. But like, I need one dude to bring to the Bills. Don't be trading for no DK Metcalf. No, thank you. Don't be trading for, you know what I'm saying, like players I ain't feeling it. Right? Now, the one person, this is one of the last topic I'm going to bring when it comes to the receiver room. And this is the last one because I was talking about Mike Evans and I was almost going to skip my notes. And then there's Alec Pierce. And I know some people are like, man, I ain't trying to pay $20 million for Alec Pierce. And for those that feel this way, what do you want then? What do you want? You don't want the $13 million, 33-year-old Mike Evans. Fine. You don't want Alec Pierce because you don't think he's good enough for $20 million a year, and it's probably going to be more. So then my question is, what do Bills fans want? What receiver is out there that you feel is better and cheaper than Alec Pierce, but younger and more dynamic than Mike Evans? You have one guy that's going to be getting between 20 and 25 million. You have one guy that's going to be getting between 10 and 15 million, but you want neither one of them. So who is it that you want? This is what's been racking my brain with some fans for real. I'm curious. Let me know. Because if we bring in an Alec Pierce, you don't only reset your youth, you get a guy that's a bona fide deep threat, contested catch guy, can run his routes, and can track the football extremely well. And he's only, 24 years of age? 25? Let me, listen, I don't want to, let me make sure that I got that brother's, where's Alec Pierce? Alec Pierce, how old is Alec Pierce? Alec Pierce is 25 years old. 25 years of age. Bro, you bring that brother in for 20 mil. That's the price you got to pay for talent. The Colts are trying to bring him back, but he's like, bro, I think I've earned it that I can go and test out free agency. The last time we gave big time money to a receiver, it was Stephon Diggs, and Stephon Diggs was a young buck. That might be the best fit for Josh Allen. But then you have some people saying, "Nah, I'm not feeling Alec Pierce. Nah, I'm not feeling Mike Evans." Well, then who the hell are you feeling? Who in the hell are you feeling, man? There you have it. That's dumb. He's not worth that much. Okay, Jam, who you like? And it's not, I'm not even trying to be fresh with you, bro. I'm actually very curious who you like. If you think he's not worth that much, who you like? For real. My man Mike says, yo, let's be honest, man. A big part of the problem is Josh Allen's decision making. Great in 2024, not so much last year. I mean, decision making is going to get better when you get better receivers, right? You get better receivers, it makes your decision making much easier. My man said, yo, Alec Pierce wants to play. He wants to play here. Go watch his interview from the morning. I haven't seen it yet. I'll go take a look. Money better be right. Money better be right. My man Walter says, yo, when injury, not talent, is the biggest concern for a guy, as long as it's an elite talent and short-term deal, you can't scare me with that. What scares me is signing another Groot. I'm which I like Groot, man. I like Groot. But I get your take. I get your take. Mike Hart, said, he goes, yo, Josh Palmer has had no idea how to take hit or fall in Atlanta game. So he got his leg all crumpled up for the season. Take a judo class or something. I mean, shoot, man. Sometimes you get hit in a weird way. My man McGriff says, yo, thoughts on Brian Thomas Jr. Isn't he expandable in Jacksonville? He is. I'm sure. I mean, they tried to make that brother available for trade last year, but I guess no bites. Jalen Waddle apparently was available, but I think they're going to try to make it work out in Miami. But he might be available for trade. Maybe the Bills go back and say, yo, we tried it. It didn't work. What do we got? Can we talk about something? Who knows? My man Richie says, yo, Rico, to be fair, Josh doesn't throw the ball, doesn't throw to them whenever they're open. It's going to matter, in my opinion. It's not going to matter, he says, in my opinion. I've seen it every time this year. Josh knows what he's got to work on. It's been driving me nuts, bro. Lead that damn receiver. If he beats his man, reward him. Reward him by letting him run under that football. Don't make him slow down, come back for the football, and now you got a DB that's got to catch up and play this game, right? Because if you think about it, you go back to that Bills Denver game, that brother got that safety beat. That safety was beat, and you let that brother catch back up, hand in there, boom. Now you see what's going on. The Rams traded 9 of their last 10 round first picks. They're not interested in potential. You damn right. When I saw that graphic, Walter, I was just as shocked as you were. Traded out. The only time they've ever spent first round pick was on Jared Verse, and I forgot who the last person was. Was that kid out of the quarterback out of Oklahoma? Jared Goff, excuse me. What am I saying? Oklahoma. Jared Goff and Jared Verse. Those are the two. 2016 and Jared Verse was 2024. Those are the only 2 first-round draft picks they've ever spent. Every last one of them, they traded it. And I love what they did by trading their first-round pick for a bona fide corner that's only 26 years old. Shoot, good for them. They gave up a lot, though. First-round pick, 5th-round pick, 6th-round pick, and next year's 3rd. Woo! That's a lot. Snead is saying, yo, I don't care about these picks, man. I'm trying to win. Take these picks. I got guys that know how to draft players. I know how they know how to do what they're supposed to do. Yo, you got to love the confidence. You got to love the confidence in a GM. Give them the credit, man. Give them their credit. Mike says, yo, Pierce is injured a lot too. So many of these receivers are just brittle, yet they want big contracts anyway. I mean, this is a contact sport. People gonna get hurt. They're gonna get hurt. But he had his first 1,000-yard season last year when he was healthy. He was as healthy as he's gonna be, and he had 1,000 yards last year. And he's on the cusp of becoming a big time player. And that brother was getting thrown to by Richardson, an old man Phillip Rivers, and he was getting thrown to by Daniel Jones. I'll put it there. I'll leave it there too. My man, Spanish Jose says, yo, let me ask you, Rico, if Josh pulls a staff and tries to get a ring elsewhere, would you be mad? I don't know if Josh would ever do that. I don't know if he'd ever do that. And if he does do that, would I be mad? Something catastrophic would have to happen in Buffalo, where someone betrayed him. Brandon Beane betrayed him heavily, where the trust was done with Brandon Beane and the trust was done with Joe Brady. The front office would have to betray Josh Allen blatantly in order for him to pull a something like that. I doubt he'd leave. He would. It's not in. I don't think it's just not in his DNA to do something like that, unless you get really disrespected and they do you dirty. That's the only way I would see something like that happen. That's the only way. I don't see it any other way happening. So when it comes to free agency, Alec Pierce, I'm for it, man. I'm for it. You give that brother, listen, it's just going to have to be what it is. The market, they say, is 20 mil. Some folks are saying he can get up to as high as 25. I don't know if he's 25 worthy, but free agency is nasty like that. Sometimes people will pay for whatever they need to pay for to get the job done. One thing that I do appreciate about Brandon Beane is that he knows how to construct these deals and these contracts so they don't hit right off the bat, but they spread out near the end. And that's where you get in trouble. So if you believe in Alec Pierce and you believe he's that dude, then pay him accordingly. You know you're going to go draft. You know there's some good draft prospects in this draft, but you need someone that's done it. You need someone that's got the experience. That you need that. We had an opportunity to trade for A.D. Mitchell. We didn't do it. A.D. Mitchell, I think, is going to be a really good player for the Jets. That's just too bad they don't have a quarterback. It sucks. It is what it is. My man Walter Zio, calling out Allen's flaws is an argument to give him more talent, not avoid it. At some point, you need to just come to the terms with who he is and build around it. I think that's what they're trying to do right now, to be honest with you. They've been trying to build around Josh, but they haven't been giving him the talent that he needs at the receiver room. I think they're going to really actually address it properly. And with a new offensive coordinator / head coach that used to be a receiver himself, he knows what he's supposed to do. He knows what he's got to do. So look, go make it happen, baby. Go make it happen. Alec Pierce isn't injury prone. He had 1,000 yards. That's what I just said, man. He had 1,000 yards last year off of 47 catches, bro. The guy was second in the league for qualifying receivers with 21 yards a catch. The guy's a bona fide deep threat. That's what we need. Uncork Josh Allen's arm and let that thing fly. Come on now. I'm loving it. Anyway, folks, that's my time, man. I really wanted to just touch on Keon Coleman along with Connor McGovern. So McGovern will be given his ability to go and seek a deal elsewhere, and the Bills are going to be moving in and moving on from him and moving in with Cedric Van Pran-Granger. That's what it just feels like. It's Cedric, left guard is open. Maybe they bring back David Edwards. Maybe they go with the rookie contract with Cedric and bring back David Edwards. Maybe they don't find anybody at that left guard, but I think they're both going to be walking, and the Bills will be looking to just look for a veteran piece that could really bolster that left side. Maybe that piece is on the squad right now. We shall see. We shall see. By the way, the Colts are not giving up on Alec Pierce. The Colts are still trying to sign Alec Pierce, but Alec Pierce was like, bro, let me test free agency. Let me see where we're at right now. And then we'll go from there. Yo, I'm signing him to a $4 million, 4 years, $90 million, 50 guaranteed, and signing Mike Evans to a 2-year deal. Bro, I would love to see, you know what my dream scenario would be? My dream scenario is that we bring in two prize free agents. There was a year where we brought in, not only did we bring in Cole Beasley, but we brought in Cole Beasley and John Brown in the same offseason. Same. That was a heavy free agent day. I think Beane, but we had money then. We had the money to go and get what we needed. So Brandon Beane is probably going to try to exercise his role from several years ago and double dip. But he's going to double dip in free agency. So if he double dips in free agency, if we're capable, if the Bills are capable, let me just kind of have a recap here. If the Bills are capable, I'm certainly not sleeping on Mike Evans. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not sleeping on Mike Evans. And if the goal is to win the damn Super Bowl and win the chip, sometimes you got to give every complimentary piece that you can. So if the Bills went out and said, yo, give me Mike, and they said, bro, if Mike is there, let me see if I can get Rashid Shaheed, double hit, or they'll go with a Romeo Dobbs and then bring in I don't know, shoot. Who knows, man? Josh Reynolds is going to be available. Excuse me, not Josh Reynolds. Jahan Dotson is going to be available. I don't know. Those are not big names for me. If you're really going to be aggressive like you say you are, you got to go Mike Evans and then come in with somebody else, man. Or you go Alec Pierce, give Alec Pierce big money, and then go and get Romeo Dubs, and then go draft yourself a receiver, and then figure out what you're gonna do with Palmer. The possibilities are endless. Now, I'm not a mathematician. I'm sure the numbers got to work. You know what I mean? But if aggressive is what they said they're going to be, shoot, go get it. Go get it. Ain't no being scared, man. Scared money don't make no money, man. If you got scared money, forget about it. Like you got it. Scared money don't make money. So you've got to go and get it. If you're really trying to help Josh Allen, if you're really trying to make this team get to the next level, you're really trying to have your head coach have the success that he's supposed to have or wants to have, shoot, that's where it's at, man. Walter says, yo, the fact that Beasley and John are viewed as highlight getting Josh weapons, free agency is a cry for help. But listen, when they brought those two guys in, Josh exploded as a player. So I personally don't look at John Brown and Beasley like, oh, those are big names. They were difference makers. And that's what we need at this point. Difference makers. Make a difference in this offense. So you got Keon, you got Khalil, you got Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer can be moved. It's going to take a hit, but you can do some savings at the same time. There's ways around that. He can be moved. So now it's just a matter of figuring out what's the best fit and where do you think what does Carmichael want? What does what does Brady want? What does Brady envision for this offense to look now that McDermott's not there to tell him how he wants it run? Now it's your show. Because that's another thing I've been seeing. Oh, well, he was under McDermott, and McDermott was telling me how he wants things done and this, that, and the third. I don't quite buy that, but some folks want to talk about that. So now let's just say that is the truth. McDermott is long gone. So if that's not how you wanted to have your offense constructed, now you have full ability to now talk to your partner in crime in Brandon Beane. You're the CEO. Go ahead and get it done. Build it how you want to build it. Since you guys are aligned so much in your alignment, I hope y'all figure that crap out. The free agent market was way different than the it changes every year, man. The difference, it was far different, but the same GM is still intact, right? It was different then, but still intact. He's still here. So he still has that same mentality as well, somewhat. I'm sure some people have changed since then, but he still got that mentality. All right, last one before I get out of here. My man Walter says, yo, go back, Rico, and read the articles from 2019 when we signed them. Teams projected us being one of, if not the worst in the league off those same signings. I don't remember that. I remember being excited about it. I was like, okay, John Brown. I know John Brown. I'm big on John Brown. I was like, okay, Cole Beasley, cool. And then once they came through and they started doing work, I was like, all right, bet, let's whirl. But I'll take a look back. I'll take a look back and have a read. All right, folks, that's my time. I appreciate you guys. I wanted to kind of spend an hour. I'm at an hour and a half. I'm trying to keep these, try to bite size, if you will. But if you guys enjoyed the show, do me a favor, smash that like. Do me a favor, go ahead and jump in there. If you have not downloaded the Sleeper app, go ahead and download that Sleeper app and get familiar with it, right? Because right now NFL is done, but NBA is full blown, getting ready to go. Get in your NBA, take your picks, and get busy. And Sleeper app is the app to do that. You guys already know what time it is. Go ahead and sign up and get it cracking. So that being said, folks, that's my time. If you guys enjoyed the show, smash that like. Do what you do. I probably won't be here on Friday because I got some things to do. So I want to get up on here and crack with y'all and hang out. But what do we anticipate that is going to happen with these Bills in free agency? There's a lot that needs to happen, and right now their boards are being built. The combine is done with. Were there any combine specialists that you guys saw that could fall to the Bills? I'll tell you right now that young buck that was kind of mean mugging when he was talking to the crowd and to the reporters. I don't see nothing wrong with that, man. Yeah, that boy. Everybody has a way of kind of dialing in and focusing. Some folks thinking, oh, he's way off. He's gonna be a problem. I don't see it that way. Everybody's different, man. This is not. These are not things that these young men are used to. Getting in front of people and answering questions. Maybe that's his way of kind of, you know what I mean? I'm locked in. I'm letting you know that I'm ready to go. Everybody does their thing weird. But that is that, folks. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And we will catch back up. If we got time, we might maybe I'll be able to catch you guys on an early show on Friday with my man Bot. But we'll see how it all shakes out. So keep paying attention to the tea leaves, keep paying attention to the storylines. There's a whole bunch of them out there right now. And so the one that I'm very interested in is what they plan to do with Taron Johnson. What are y'all doing with Taron Johnson, man? Are you gonna just slide that brother back to safety? Sliding that brother back to safety. I mean, I don't hate it. I really don't hate it. But I'm open because right now there's a good free agent prospects that are out there. The draft's got some good ones. There's that one white boy that can run. So you put him back there with Cole Bishop. Woo! White on white, baby. Let's go. The white out. Ain't nobody gonna be able to throw on these boys, man. They're gonna white that thing out. Let's roll. I like that, man. Anyway, all love. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. You guys have yourself a fantastic rest of the evening, and potentially we'll catch you guys back on Friday with my man Z-Bot, and we'll catch you rolling. So that being said, you guys catch you on the flip side. It's your boy Rico. It's the Rico Report, and it's your boy. And